Disclaimer: this video is for educational and informational purposes only. It does not constitute financial or investment advice. Please do your own research or consult a qualified financial advisor before making any investment decisions.
Hello and welcome to StrategyWise. In this edition of StrategyWise, I am going to talk about a very important sector, an emerging sector globally, that is going to define the way global tech-led growth would go in the coming years. Yes, I am talking about the semiconductor sector. Those companies who are invested in this sector globally or domestically, small or big, what are the factors that they should take care of, and what should be the strategy for investment or to grow in this sector? So let us start with one of the key elements that any company interested in investing in the semiconductor sector should keep in mind. Don't invest in hype. Invest on solid numbers and insights. And what do I mean by insights? In terms of insights, you can take care of broadly three areas. So key pillars of your investment strategy could be: 1. Product research, innovation and development, anticipation and pace. Very important element. The second key element could be the product market expansion expectations. And the third one, product related policy ecosystem development, both in your own country and also globally. If in the initial stage of your strategy, or if you are already invested in this sector, if you are taking care of these three key elements, then things could be much easier going ahead. So let me start with the product research, innovation and development one. So how is the product market expanding in terms of semiconductors? Generative AI. AI chips are expected to account for roughly 30% of all semiconductor revenue by this year, by the end of this year. Data centers spending on AI accelerators is the primary engine of value. Then comes your automotive electronics. The transition to electric vehicles and advanced driver assistance systems is expected to significantly increase the silicon content per vehicle. Geopolitical reshoring. Significant investments in domestic manufacturing, the US Chips Act, EU Chips Act and India's Semiconductor Mission. These are the policies, these are the areas, these are things which are reshaping the supply chain. Leave any other country, India's domestic market alone is projected to scale from $50 billion in 2025 to $300 billion by 2035. So this is the kind of expansion ambit that you are looking at in semiconductor sector. And with this, when you are looking at this expansion or where it is expanding, etc., what are the challenges that you need to take care of? That is also extremely important. Global cost pressures, supply chain concentration, where it is going, workforce and skills gap, where from the skill set is coming, where it needs to be development. There is a capital intensity versus returns issue in this sector. You need to take care of that. Technology transition risk, from silicon to gallium, things are changing very, very fast, and you would need to attune to that. There is a demand volatility also. In the current geopolitical scenario, where will it go? Nobody knows. But in any case, in this sector, there would be demand volatility, and you need to take care of these things in your strategy for sure. And then let us look at numbers. The latest numbers which have come worldwide, which has been in the press release of Semiconductor Industry Association of US, been covered, and these are figures of WSTS. They clearly show which are the countries who are leaders in this sector and how are the productions going and where the semiconductor market is going. These are clear indications about investments where you can think of going or where you can think of expanding. If you look at the overall expectations of the market value growth, this is like in this year itself, this is the story of towards $1 trillion worldwide and going beyond. Revenue forecast for 2026 is somewhere, anywhere. There are different forecasts. So $975 billion to $1.3 trillion, 2026, which means this year. By 2030, the baseline one is $1.6 trillion, according to analysts, different analysts. And for 2036, the projections are that semiconductor industry revenue would land somewhere in between $1.8 trillion to $2.4 trillion. So there are growth possibilities, but you can see that there could be variations, and you have to basically plan your numbers according to that. So this is what is the growth scenario. If you look at the regional power shift in the semiconductor industry sector, that is also one important aspect that you need to take care of. Reshoring, nearshoring, friendshoring, all these things are happening. If you talk of reshoring, lead regions are USA, EU. Nearshoring, lead regions are Mexico, Poland, and friendshoring, India, Vietnam, etc. So all these elements that are happening in the semiconductor industry sector, you need to take care of if you are planning to invest or if you are already invested in this sector. And if you look at the global policy comparison, obviously in USA, there are direct grants and tax credits, those things are there, but investment scenario is a little bit more open. But if you come to China, obviously state-backed investment funds are there, and there is little possibility of somebody from outside going there investing. So there is a lot of stress from the government sector with all support to corner as much market as possible in China. And EU, if you come to EU, the primary objective is for strategic autonomy. R&D subsidies are there. This is also an open market where people can invest, unlike China. India is an interesting country where things are getting developed. There is a lot of intensity, there is a lot of talk, there is a lot of pressure or push from the government side to expand the ambit. As you saw in the earlier slides, that the projections are that it could go up to $300 billion in not very far future. So that's where the global scenario in terms of policy objectives or what different countries are doing, that is concerned, is looking like. If you look at United States, obviously, as I told you earlier, the CHIPS Act is there. More and more interest now is to basically support these companies, those who are coming in semiconductor sectors, and then enhance the productivity, in fact, support this sector to grow beyond. But again, unlike China, US is not that closed in terms of semiconductor sector. China, again, as I said, big fund phase 3, legacy node dominance. Here support. The benchmark is, the key point is that China just wants to support the domestic semiconductor industry in a manner, the government wants to support in a manner that they are able to corner as much market, both domestically and also globally, and become a lead player. Already they are, but just to corner as much market as possible. European Union, I discussed that this is more or less like US, and there are support models, but it's an open one again. India, we discussed that this India Semiconductor Mission has come about. There are subsidies which are being given from the government side. There are states who are going ahead and doing their bids, whether it is Gujarat or Assam. So India is an interesting market where semiconductor is developing, and it would be interesting to see how India's vision of becoming a global player in the semiconductor sectors goes. So this is how the strategy looks like for semiconductor in terms of how you should plan your move, how you should move ahead. But in the end, what would matter the most is how you align your resources, processes, and profit model. Like any other industry in the semiconductor sector also, interestingly, because the movement is very fast, the innovation is very fast, and everything is moving so rapidly, product, processes, skills, everything, that this alignment becomes more important than at any other point of time or in any other industry. If you have developed a strategy to align your resources, processes, and profit model at this juncture, may be the kind of future and the kind of growth that semiconductor industry looks like to be going to, or looks like to attain, you will be able to reap the benefits of that. Thank you for watching. I'll keep coming with these kind of videos, and with different kind of sectors, especially the emerging ones, the tech ones, and will provide you some insight which may be of help to you. Thank you again.